Hello and welcome to the Corporate Cup Presents DAFA News podcast. We have had an interesting days of cricket today, and we have Sanket with us again, the in-house aficionado for the sport. Hi, Sanket. Good to
Hi,
have you
Mirwan.
again.
Yes,
So
probably.
interesting days of matches today. I think Netherlands sort of almost made it to the Super 12 today, as we can understand, and Sri Lanka gave themselves a lifeline.
Yes, Sri Lanka did give themselves a lifeline, but I would like to correct you on whether Netherlands made it or not. Probably they are on top of the group, but
I said almost made it.
almost made it. Their condition is, I guess,
Yeah,
probably they will ruin the fact that they could have finished the match within 16 or 17 overs.
right,
Uh, Taking it to the 20th over, there is a negative effect on the run rate. And if Sri Lanka
right.
beat them, and Sri Lanka's net run rate is ahead of them right now itself. And if Namibia wins their match, Netherlands are not qualifying. So you're almost
Yes,
words left.
we will be discussing the possibilities in the group. I think that's what one of the things that I had on the agenda today for our podcast. Sort of makes it very interesting that, what's going to happen in the match today. So, let's sort of dive into our sort of discussion today. So, New Zealand, Namibia, Netherlands. Interesting match. I think Namibia started off a little shaky, but they consolidated towards the end. I think it's the early fall of wickets which kind of did them.
Yeah, not more than shaky. I guess it was careless cricket. The first three wickets seemed very easy going wickets. Like they threw it away. Nothing major,
Right,
like a good ball or a good LBW over there or an attacking shot. It was
right.
shots which were played to long off, mid off, or just nicking it off for one run on the
Absolutely.
third man. That probably Namibia would like to look back, and probably I didn't get the tactic behind sending Jan Franklin at number 5. He was playing well at number
Yes,
7.
absolutely. And I think, see, in the last match also he was the guy who was the savior
Yes,
for the Namibian team. And one of the reasons they could beat Sri Lanka is by putting up that score because what Jan Freiling did. I think Divan Lacook and the Jean-Nicole Lofty-Eaton Ducks essentially kind of pegged them back. Although they managed to stitch a partnership between Mike and Van Lingen and Stephen Bard, but that was not a major partnership either. It sort of didn't last too long, and Jan Freiling did not get consistent partners today.
probably he didn't identify his role also. He got confused whether to stick around or to play the attacking game scenario. Less of experience, you might call that. And their two hitters, David Vese and JJ Smith, getting only 9 balls in total is a worrying factor in terms of tactics.
Right. Absolutely, and I think, but at some level, if you see, Gerhard Erasmus actually, the captain, used 16 balls by coming in, 18 balls by coming in so late and scored only 16 runs, and you know that I think is something which kind of did not allow enough time for JJ Smith and David Visa. Again, JJ Smith being another guy with Jan Freilich in the last match who kind of stole the show for Namibia. So in this one, they couldn't just sort of complete the job. I say I think they fell about good, say 20-25 runs short. What do you think?
Yes, 140, 150 would have been a good target. And I guess it's the same case which we see with Team Pakistan. Asif Ali being a striker and not getting enough balls. It was the same with Namibia too. Probably if one of JJ Smith or Vise got those 18 balls, we could have seen a score in excess of 140 for Namibia.
Yeah, I think 140, 145 would have not been very easy for the Netherlands team. Yes, I mean, they stitched good partnerships right at the top, which kind of, Max O'Dowd, Vikramjit Singh, Bas Delid, all contributed in between 30 to 40 runs for them. However, if you see the middle order, I mean, that just came and went. I mean, you're basically looking at a phone number in the middle order for number 4, from Tom Cooper, Colin Ackerman, Scott Edwards, Tim Pringle, everybody just like 2, 3, 4, 8, 5. So I think if Namibia would have managed to sort of take a little more early because the kind of likes they gave to the Netherlands team, I think the story could have been also different.
It could have been different. There could be other perspective to this also. Maybe when Netherlands reached the victory mark, like they were just 32 runs, 13 overs, 90 runs. Maybe they
Right.
didn't know how to, they were planning to finish it early and lost those wickets, then took it to the 20th over. Maybe a target of 140 would have suited them much better. But yes, more runs on the board would have helped Namibia defend this in a better way. Or probably few more wickets at the top. Just
Yeah,
like
absolutely. I think a few early wickets would have kind of did it for them. And I mean, but all credit to New Zealand, of course, for being able to managing to sort of you know score the 4 points, 2 wins essentially. And this is good news for them. Of course, we will discuss their possibilities, but we will discuss their possibilities after seeing what happened in the Sri Lanka versus UAE match. I mean, that was. I mean, this is the first match which is essentially on expected lines, if you say, in the World Cup so far. You know, which has kind of gone to the expected party. I mean, yes, Netherlands, both matches well won. Namibia excellently won against Sri Lanka. In the other group, which is Group B, you have had a close match between comprising UAE and let's say I think Netherlands earlier, and I think this group has kind of sort of shaped up well so far in terms of where the possibilities can be. I mean, of course, we'll discuss the table a little later on the call, but I think let's discuss what Sri Lanka did today. I think they did the right thing, deciding to bat first. Okay, backing themselves for a change, and top of the order, Nissanka, what a smashing innings.
yes, as I pointed out in the last match, their top order needs to come good. Your number 5 and number 6 won't save you every day. They probably did that, and they were well on mark. When it was around the 14th, 15th over, I got that they might target 170, 180 runs, but they fell down like 152. And for a moment, I thought UAE might go for the target, and it's within their range. Like 7.5 to 8 was within their range, but the story is something else.
Absolutely, and I think one thing I noticed, which is very interesting. Of course, we will talk about the hat trick by Meiyappan, getting Rajpaksa, Asalanka, and Shanaka. But what I'm trying to say is that even after that, Hasaranga and Karuna Ratne also could not contribute much. So the Sri Lankan middle order today against a team like UAE was completely ineffective. I mean, they essentially could have given the start that Mendis and Nissanka had given them. They could have, and of course, De Silva, Dhananjay De Silva, who also contributed with Nissanka. They could have easily got to a total of close to about, what do you call, at least 200 maybe, and that would have really helped them and cover up for the lost run rate bit that they had.
Maybe they targeted 180, I would say not 200, and losing so many wickets, they thought of a safe score rather than going for 180 and getting all out for 140 and giving UAE a much more target. Probably their first priority was winning the game and then thinking about the net run rate. Like before the toss, there were people talking that Sri Lanka should concentrate on winning the match first. There, you don't want a situation where you are 20 for 3 because you are targeting 200 from the start itself.
I
Probably,
think they got a good start. In,
yes,
in about 11th over, they got to about 90 odd runs. So in remaining 9 overs, they could have at least scored 90 and 100 more.
yes.
And I think the worry for them, and especially Shanaka, would be that the middle order did not fire against I mean, comparatively weaker team. And, even if they make it to now, and now the only possibility looks like unless something dramatic happens, they may not be able to make it as the group leaders from this group. and that would effectively mean they land themselves up. I mean, this we discussed as a possibility. They land themselves in causing a mini Asia Cup this time in the Super 12.
Probably Sri Lanka will prefer that. They have defeated India and Pakistan.
Yes,
Yes.
if you go by the sort of recent victories of that, but I think it's a different tournament, and I think teams are in a different mindset here. Of course, we will have to see how these teams come back. India is having their next warm up match against the New Zealand, so that'll we'll also have to see. I think it was bit of a last two over cameo, and especially last over cameo that saved India in the last match. We'll also have to see how they actually perform in the upcoming match against warm up match against New Zealand. What they try, what they don't try, and actually perhaps be able to understand what how strong their chances would be in moving forward.
Yes, probably I would want Hardik Pandya and Dinesh Karthik to score more runs. Send Hardik at
Yeah,
4 and Karthik at 5, and let Surya rest for tomorrow and let him prepare for the Sunday's game. And
right.
probably I would want to see Shami bowling in the power play overs and a bit more of Chahal getting 4 overs back to back. He needs some confidence on his end. And it and Rohit said that he has his 11 in 11 ready in his head. So I don't know what's the 11, but I don't think any performance in the practice or the warm up games is going to change that. It's much more about giving game time or maybe preparing them for the further matches.
No, absolutely, and I think Sky deserves a break, and you know he needs to be fresh for the Sunday game. I think India really needs him in that one. I agree with the fact that Shami needs to come up the order in terms of bowling. Of course, perhaps like we discussed, he was just given one over because of the uh, time
Jet
difference
lag thing.
between his travel and the jet lag that it could have caused. Um and I think uh, I don't know. I have a feeling that Rishabh Pant might get a an opportunity tomorrow, and perhaps the only opportunity tomorrow, before he can sort of say whether he will have whether he'll be just carrying drinks in this World Cup, or whether he'll actually be playing in this World Cup. So of course we have seen funny things happen a long time ago. The former Indian captain and the former BCCI president had refused to carry drinks long time ago in Australia too. Good, almost about 30 odd years back. Those are also legendary stories in this sport. But anyways, coming back to the match between Sri Lanka and UAE. I think UAE kind of could not create the magic that they created in the last match, which was a very close match with the Netherlands. Their batting completely failed them this time. I mean,
Yes,
Chirag Suri and Ayan Afzal Khan got a bit of runs on the board and a little bit of a cameo by Junaid Siddiqui in the end, but that was just a little too late.
that is 73 all out with 3 dropped catches. So
Yeah, so they
probably
could have got out
yes,
much earlier.
yes,
They-
Sri Lanka would be happy with the net run rate jump, or they might be like we needed it much more and get them all
No,
out for
absolutely. I
60.
mean, if you look at the group table, and I mean, before we actually go to the group table, I think one of the interesting things that happened was the hat trick today. Let me tell you that it was the fifth hat trick in the T20 World Cups. Uh, on a strange note, last World Cup actually saw three hat tricks by uh, you know by Curtis Camphor, Wanadu Hasaranga, and Kagiso Rabada. Three hat tricks in the last World Cup, which is T20 World Cup in Abu Dhabi, or in UAE rather, not in Abu Dhabi. And before that, the earlier World Cup was in the first World Cup, which was by Brett Lee in 2007. And in between that many World Cups, there were never a hat trick. That's very strange. And sort of today, Karthik Meiyappan sort of gave us another hat trick. So do you think it's some kind of I don't know if anything has changed. You cannot really have like a scientific reason behind why suddenly there are four hat tricks in the World Cup in a space of 12 months. But you think anything has changed, or it's just just remarkable coincidence, just one
It
of those things in the game?
probably 90% is just a coincidence, and probably you can link 10% to the batter just going on attacking the spinners and not caring about the wicket. probably thinking that Sri Lanka was targeting a big score, but losing their captain Dasun Shanaka to the hat-trick, Hasaranga and the other batters thought just let the let, let the singles keep coming. A score of
Uh-huh.
150 to 160 will be enough for a team like UAE. So that was the case. If this was a match against a big team, there were lesser chances of a hat trick. Shanaka would have played it carefully rather than being dismissed on a hat trick.
No, I perhaps agree with you on this point, and I think one of the key things, which essentially can now, I mean, sort of this kind of opens up a lot of possibilities in this table. I mean, if you look at the table, yes, Netherlands has got 4 points, but but their net run rate has suffered, especially after their slow batting in the last 5 overs. And Namibia is much ahead on the run rate. So the next match is essentially Sri Lanka versus Netherlands, and if Sri Lanka actually defeats Netherlands and Namibia defeats the UAE, which is the sort of the prediction which you made earlier in the podcast, Netherlands, after winning the first two matches, still out of the tournament.
Yes, they will be out. Probably, I would have hoped that the Namibia UAE match was the first one on Thursday and not the second one. And 90 to 95% Namibia would have won it. And then the Netherlands Sri Lanka match will be just a knockout match. Whoever wins goes through. Because their net run rate is probably Sri Lanka does not need to care about the net run rate if they are winning that match.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they are way ahead of I think they would be focusing on the win rather than the run rate here, just
Yes,
to make sure that they qualify. And Namibia would want to do a clean sweep. So in this case, what we are looking at. I mean, if you look at my predictions, yes, Sri Lanka does have a possibility, but no longer as the number one team from the group, unless UAE just defeats Namibia out of the blue. And that too, they have to do it with a significantly high run rate, so as to even deter Namibia's chances of not qualifying as the second team, or even the
no,
first team for that matter,
no, but
in terms of
if
run rate.
Namibia is defeated, they end on 2 points. Netherlands already has four, and Sri Lanka will reach four. So Namibia needs to win the match. If
Yeah, true.
if Namibia loses, they hope that Sri Lanka loses the match, which kind of
Yeah, that
things.
was which is also a possibility, but after the first match, anything is possible
Yes, but I
after the
guess
first
Sri
first two
Lanka
days.
woke up at the right moment, and I guess it will be Sri
I only
Lanka.
think I only think their top order woke up. The middle order didn't wake up.
The middle order woke up in the first match, after, but damage was done till then.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. So I think that Sri Lanka has to get their act together. I think if you look at their gameplay, they still have that overhang of having won the Asia Cup. I mean, that's the approach that they had in the first match, is according to me. And that did prove sort of very, very detrimental for them. I think in this one, you will find that if Sri Lanka wins against Netherlands, yes, 4 points, 4 points for them. I think both of these guys qualify. But if Namibia wins, you have set the cat amongst the pigeons, and Netherlands is likely to be out. So all to play for in this group. I mean, of course, UAE doesn't have much of an opportunity here. Let's be honest here. So they are just going to hope that they can put on a good show in their last match against Namibia, and perhaps go home with a win. Maybe their first win in the T20 World Cup.
Yes, they will be there to spoil the party.
All parties have spoilers, but sometimes they are not effective. So I think so. What's your prediction before we actually sort of talk about these games day after tomorrow? What's your prediction? What's going to happen between the Sri Lanka Netherlands match and Namibia UAE match?
I see
And who's qualifying as the one and two in this group,
Sri
from this
Lanka
group?
will qualify as two and Namibia as one because of the net run rate. Sri Lanka will beat Netherlands and Namibia will beat UAE, and that will be the order. So a mini
So
Asia
yeah,
Cup, as you say.
so yeah, a mini Asia Cup. I mean, you've got Bangladesh, India, Pakistan, and Sri Lanka in that group. So a mini Asia Cup right over there, and South Africa. With South Africa, I was watching. this, and I recommend our viewers and listeners to also watch this. There's a documentary called Hanse in on Netflix, which talks about Hansi Cronje, one of the great South Africa captains. Of course, we all know what happened, and the allegations, and his tragic death. But nonetheless, for cricket fans, it is always interesting to watch cricket history, and this is a bit of South African cricket history, a nation which, after coming back into mainstream cricket about 30 odd years back, has played some phenomenal cricket over the years, has produced some of the great cricketers, and including the Indian head coach in the 2011 World Cup, Gary Kirsten, part of the team who won the World Cup for India after 28 years. And maybe people can just go and watch it. It's a very interesting documentary style movie, and talks about South African cricket, and especially the role of Hansi Cronje in developing South African cricket. So with that, I think my predictions are also on similar lines. I think Namibia has a much greater chance of defeating UAE. UAE may not be able to spoil the party as much, and I think Sri Lanka is going to go home with a win and make sure that they qualify at least. So whilst if that happens, if my Group A predictions essentially, which were earlier, Sri Lanka qualifying as the leader and UAE joining them, are in tatters. So UAE is going home pretty much, and Sri Lanka is qualifying as second, and Namibia was not there for me, so Namibia might be the leader. What was your predictions, and where do you stand with respect to that?
I said Sri Lanka and Netherlands. Sri Lanka is the first one and number two for Netherlands, just looking
Okay.
at their history. But
Hmm.
that could be a case if Sri Lanka beats Netherlands and Namibia loses to UAE. You need UAE here. So I
Yes.
guess,
So you need the UAE guys to finally fire and make sure that you at least get the entries in the predictions, if not the order, right.
but I will wish that Namibia qualifies
Yes,
because
they have played well. They
they
have
have
played
played
well.
well.
They have played well so far, and I think they deserve a spot in the Super 12. And by the looks of it, if our predictions of Namibia defeating UAE and Sri Lanka defeating Netherlands do come true, then you are actually having Namibia, which is one of the new entrants in the sport and new entrants in the World Cup, actually topping a group. So that bodes very, very well for their cricket in the coming years.
Yes, they will be playing Australia, England, Afghanistan, and all the top teams, and maybe cause an upset and make it difficult for one of them in the other groups.
Yes, certainly between Australia, England, and New Zealand. And even if they all win against Afghanistan and Namibia, let's assume so that Namibia qualifies as number one from Group A, you still have one hell of a hustle. So, which effectively means Afghanistan and Namibia games are become must-win games for these guys.
Even with the net run rate seen, you might all the three teams might defeat both the teams, but who defeats it in a much stronger way?
Correct.
That will be the
Correct.
case, and that gives opportunity to Afghanistan and Namibia to cause an upset.
Absolutely. And I think all the three teams, which is England, Australia, and New Zealand, would want to go for it. They would want to make sure that they get the maximum points, and they get the maximum points with the best possible run rates against these two teams,
I
because
see
they
New
know that.
Zealand losing to one of the teams.
Wow. So that's an interesting prediction. So I think we will discuss these predictions when we get closer to these matches, and hopefully we'll have a bit of a form guide. I mean, form guide into the Super 12, and of course the form guide from the qualifying for the Group A and Group B teams. And I think it's going to make for a very interesting discussion. So thanks, Sanket. I think we've had a good chat. So we have got two interesting matches tomorrow as well. Let me tell our guests. So we have West Indies against Zimbabwe tomorrow.
Yes.
Uh, West Indies against Zimbabwe, and we have Scotland versus Ireland. So that's a bit of a, what do you call, a United Kingdom fight over there. The Scottish team and the Irish team. The Scotland team has, well, let's say, caused one of the bigger upsets in the tournament so far, defeating West Indies quite comprehensively by, I think, 42 runs. And Zimbabwe, nicked it against the Irish, but I think, like we said, they made Irish cream yesterday. But let's see what happens tomorrow. It's a new day. I think West Indies will want to have a very strong comeback against the Zimbabwe team, and and would want to bring them up in the contention in this group after winning this. And what's your prediction for the Scotland versus Ireland game? I think that is going to be
Yes,
a far closer game than we think.
yes, Scotland are playing good cricket and they have their plans in place. We saw that against West Indies, taking out the paper and saying at the plans. That's
Yeah,
literally plans in place. So
yeah.
Scotland will be the favorites there. And in West Indies, Zimbabwe, I see at Zimbabwe winning that match because they're
Wow.
confident from their victory. And you need to look at they were in trouble at 24-3 or 34-3, and
Correct.
coming back from that, they have
Barring Raza,
confidence.
I think barring Sikandar Raza, I think they would have gone home.
Yes, so they have the confidence that if none of us click, Raza is there. So the top order will play with free hand. And once that happens with West Indies, they're always chasing the game.
Right. I think interesting to see what's going to happen tomorrow. I think it's very important that we see some good cricket, especially from the West Indies team, because I think it's long time due now, especially in this tournament. And and there isn't much time for them either. It's a must-win game against Zimbabwe. So, and what do you think? West Indies going to, if they win the toss, they're going to bat this time
Probably they should bat, but I guess they will again choose elect to chase.
to field?
Yes,
Okay.
I guess Puran will do the holder today told that
Yes, it
the
doesn't matter
statement.
if you have talent, you have to perform.
Yes, and Zimbabwe are doing that.
Yes, I hope West Indies also performs. One of the most legendary teams and one of the most legendary cricket playing nations in the world, has given some of the most phenomenal players in the game in the history of the sport. But history, as we say, is history. The history has to be created tomorrow by the current West Indies team by making sure that they have a chance. Because if they lose tomorrow, they are going home. It's calypso back in the Caribbeans for them. It's no longer happening in Australia. So with
Yeah.
that note, I think it'll be an interesting set of matches again. I think lots to play for, and a good English battle, as we say, a United Kingdom battle is what we are going to see tomorrow: Scotland versus Ireland. And we have an interesting chat tomorrow, and we will have another guest, ladies and gentlemen. Tomorrow we will have Gulshan Nain with us, a celebrated actor and a celebrity. We are going to hear from him. We are going to hear his thoughts about the game. We are going to hear his thoughts about the World Cup. So please tune in tomorrow to watch that. And Sanket, thank you as always. We are going to have the chat tomorrow after the games are over, and let's hope it makes for an interesting chat along with our celebrity guest tomorrow.
Yes, yes. Hopefully.
All right, Sanket. Thank you so much. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for tuning into the Corporate Cup Presents Dafa News podcast every day. Keep showing your love to us. Keep subscribing, liking, and sharing our channel on the YouTube as well as on the social media on Instagram. And make sure that you keep liking the page, because if you keep liking the page and if you are the 1000th subscriber on our YouTube page, you are going to win a very, very good lucky prize. So with that, I bid you goodbye, and I will see you tomorrow along with Sanket and our celebrity guest Gulshan Nain with an interesting episode of the Dafa News podcast. Till then, thank you. Bye bye.